the Bliss Business Podcast, the show about empathy, connection, and consciousness in business. Today's episode is brought to you by Zero Company, your paid search, social media, and programmatic ad experts.
Hello, and welcome back to the show. In this short Empathy Expansion Kit episode, we are discussing the importance of empathy at every touch point in the customer journey. I'm Steven Zakash here with Tulio Siragusa. Hey, Tulio.
Hey, everybody. Hey, Steven. Good to be back.
So if you want to deeper dive into this topic, check out our podcasts on the 4-stage journey. This redefines the customer journey with a new emotional connection model. We covered that about a month ago. Also in February, we covered the traditional customer journey model there and why empathy is important. Both those go into very specific detail and in an in-depth manner. So this is going to be, again, a short 10-minute run through here. Tulio, I always see the customer journey as one area where marketers are really forced to kind of think empathetically. Why is that the case?
Well, you really can't fully understand the customer needs and pain points unless you are empathetic in your approach to understanding it. So in the customer journey, it really is about understanding and addressing the customer needs. But it's not just their transactional needs, it's tied to their desire and also the pain points that you might be trying to solve, right? So empathy enables marketers to kind of put themselves not only in the shoes of the customer, but also think of themselves as the customer. So how do I want to experience this? What is it that I need? Not just transactionally, but experientially. And then you can design experiences that resonate at a much deeper level, at an emotional level. For example, by empathizing with the frustration of a complex checkout process, a marketer can design a purchasing experience that can lead to a higher conversion rate. So it's just putting ourselves in the customer's shoes and also understanding the desire behind something, not just the transactional requirement. I always equate it to this. It's like, what is the real fulfillment that the customer wants to get out of this, right? Is it, if they're buying a suit, for example, is it just to buy a suit? Or is it that they want to show up looking super professional at an interview? Or they have an event that they're going to and they want to look really polished. They want to feel great about themselves. The suit is just the transaction, but the experience that they're looking for is more an emotional, something that they want that's a personal fulfillment tied to either going to a wedding or an event or an interview or whatever it is that will make them feel great about themselves wearing that suit. Right. So as a marketer, if you understand the real need, the desire of the buyer, you can align how you position that suit to them, not as just a transaction. I need a suit because I'm going to a wedding. It's more like you're going to look like $1 million at this wedding. So there's different approaches that empathetically understands the desire behind why someone wants something, not just the product or the service itself. That's a vehicle to get to fulfilling a desire. So empathetic marketing is really about going deeper and understanding the desire behind something.
So the more we understand about the customer and what's going on in their lives, what's going on in their heads, that's a competitive advantage because I can now be more relevant, right? I can now talk about that wedding suit or that business interview suit in some way, and this is a little different customer journey than just come buy a suit, right? And now I can really sort of address some of the emotions going on there, actually kind of get them imagery and stuff like that, and that whole process you can put that just align with whatever they're going through. So it's this process of relevance. So quickly on that discovery and awareness stage, we're using a lot of data to really zero in on the audience. So, not just demographics, but psychographics. If I'm running like a Google campaign or something and I'm on a keyword for suits, I think may also find out there are these other things going on, like these life moments. Google will actually give me data back on, hey, this person is 10 times more likely to own a Lexus, 5 times more likely to be, an avid news reader, or 15 times more likely to be in family activities, whatever the case is going on. And I can kind of learn a lot from that and find out, okay, the people that are really buying this suit right now, these are the ones who are, 20 times more likely to be going through a business interview or something, some process, or looking for a new job. And, oh, that's my audience here. I need to speak to those people. I'm getting a high conversion rate. So the more we kind of understand that customer, what they're going through, be empathetic, understand the emotions they may be going through there, then we'll try to win their heart, right? So,
and you could do that so effectively today, right? I always equate it back to how it used to be in the village, right? When we lived in small little towns, small villages before urban sprawl, right? Where everybody knew each other. So how do people learn about each other? It was like through the gossip stream. So-and-so is getting married, or they got engaged, or something's happening, or they got a new job. You just kind of learned about your neighbors, and everybody kind of knew each other. Whether it was good or bad, it doesn't matter. The point is, if you were a shopkeeper, you kind of knew something about your buyers because of that gossip stream, right? So I think like the data is like that gossip stream, right? Because you could track, were you looking up information about weddings? Were you looking at information about interviews? There's some insights that a marketer can gather about that user, where their mindset is at, so that, it can triangulate this idea of, it looks like they're about to go into a job interview. They've been searching for a job for a few weeks, and now they're shopping for a suit, so they really just want to look sharp for an interview, probably. So a marketer, knowing that information, can be empathetic to the desire of that buyer. That buyer is not looking for a suit. That buyer is looking to land a job, right? So that's, the suit is just a vehicle to look sharp. So there's so much data available in that. You can replicate sort of that old-fashioned gossip stream as a marketer that wasn't possible, just a few years ago. So it's a gift to have all this information if you know how to empathetically put it together to solve a problem or to serve a need that fulfills the desire of the buyer.
Yeah. So let's assume that our audience, they've done all that great work. They've got everyone through, they've got a clean purchase process, really easy, not painful in any way. I think this is where most people tend to think of that customer journey as kind of ending there, but really you've got this bigger part of the post-conversion journey that's vital for most businesses. So there are like 17 main emotions in the consumption process. So if you want your customers to turn into that ambassador for you, this is the part of the journey that's really key, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And the key thing here is that the journey actually begins at the point of consumption, if you really think about it, right? So, because in the moment of consumption, you're either going to experience frustration because maybe you didn't get exactly what you wanted or didn't create the feeling you wanted. It can even turn into anger. It could turn into sadness because you're like, oh my goodness, I bought the wrong thing. I don't feel good about myself. I'm about to go into this job interview. I don't feel confident. Or it could be shame. What was I thinking when I bought this? How did they convince me to buy this? Or it could be just ecstatic joy, surprise. Wow, this fits even better than I thought it would. This is so amazing. And the next day, maybe the person lands the job and they're astonished that, wow, I really showed up sharp, confident. I'm so happy I made this purchase, right? So those emotions can be positive or negative that are tied to consumption, can turn that now buyer into an evangelist for you, because they made an emotional connection.
That loop, that process over again. So it brings them back, and now you're back at the beginning of the customer journey for someone else, but it's being advocated in the best light, assuming you're doing things right, or the worst light if you did things wrong. And the customer journey then either for this next person, can go extremely well and fast, or forget it, short and dies a quick death like a shooting star. It's just gone.
Exactly. I mean, think of it this way. First as a curiosity, for a desire that's pending to be fulfilled. You fulfill that desire, either positive or negatively. The outcome of that will then turn that fulfilled desire, positive or negatively, into an evangelist, right? They're either going to be an evangelist in a positive way because they feel fulfilled and they want everybody else to experience that, or in a negative way because they were completely disappointed and they don't want somebody else to be disappointed. It's human nature to want to get to a place where either I feel so good about the experience, I want everybody else to have it, or I feel terrible about the experience, I don't want anybody else to have it. So that's the point where the consumer or the buyer or the customer turns into your advocate or your worst enemy. So the goal is to make sure that the desire gets fulfilled, and then it turns into them being an ambassador fulfilling other people's desires. And all that is tied to empathetic marketing. You can't accomplish that without empathetic marketing. So really, and so you got to look at the picture of the customer, not just that one customer, but the downstream effect that that one customer will have on everybody else based on their experience.
Yeah. So really consider empathy all the way through that process to that consumption level. And you'll have yourself a very successful, empathetic customer journey. As a reminder, Tuesdays, we do our deeper dive producer series podcast. Wednesdays, we're running short segments like this empathy expansion kit episode. And tomorrow, we run our interviews with guests. So check that out tomorrow, and we'll see you next time on the Bliss Business Podcast.